Welcome, everyone. We have our newest episode of Financially Speaking with LaBarge Financial. I am Jason LaBarge. We are welcome today with Lily Reddish, financial advisor here at LaBarge Financial. And we're excited today as we were trying to discuss, what topics we were going to go over. We thought now was a good time. It's spring, and we're going to discuss having a financial plan. Yeah. And when I think about what we do at LaBarge Financial, at the end of the day, it's our job to help the families we serve create a plan. And then once we create the plan, we put the investments in place to help implement the plan. And then we walk through life together and we measure the decisions that we have to make, some big, some small, on how that's going to impact the plan. And if we have to make changes, we make changes. If we can, stick to the plan, we stick to the plan. Yeah. But that's ultimately what our job is. It's not to provide investments necessarily. It's not to, do a number of other things. We're here to create and implement a financial plan. And it's shocking to me how few Americans actually have
an actual financial plan in place. Yes. Yeah. I think that the recent statistics showed that there's about 38%, and that is a vague kind of,
that have a plan or do not.
That have a plan. 38%. And that doesn't mean it's as in depth of, what we consider a financial plan, because there's a lot that goes into it. It's not necessarily just, can I retire? There's a lot of factors, and it's not the dollar amount, I should say, that matters. It's all of the other factors.
Because people ask that. I think Susie Orman or somebody came out and said, hey, you need $2 million. Yep. You need $1 million. So people come in and they think, well, Jason, I don't have this, or I have that matter.
Or
hey, I have $5 million. I'm okay, right? And it's like the number doesn't necessarily matter. There's so many factors that go into it, and so we're gonna talk about those today. But we're first gonna talk about what let's start with the software. So what software do we use to help develop a plan?
So we use a couple different softwares. The top three, I would say, the most important one is going to be Retirement Analyzer.
Definitely.
That's going to be your retirement projection, kind of puts everything out in plain and simple details, but there's a lot that goes into it. It's very thorough.
We've evaluated several. In fact, when I first started my career, back in 2006, we were using Retirement Analyzer back then.
Oh, really?
I think his name was Goldstein. Steve Goldstein. You ever meet him?
I didn't, but
I thought you did. No, but maybe somebody else did.
No, but that definitely is Retirement Analyzer.
Steve Goldstein. Yeah. And so I want to say created it, or he had something involved with it. And I saw it back in 2006 and, kind of half disregarded it. I shouldn't say disregarded. I looked at it in terms of it's one of several. Yeah. But we, in the last 5 or 6 years, have come back to it.
Oh, it's awesome now.
We've evaluated so many others, eMoney.
Right.
So many other plans. So we use Retirement Analyzer. What else do we use?
So we use Plan. That's going to be our tax planning software. There's actually a lot of tax planning that you can do within Retirement Analyzer too. But Plan is going to be, if you have a tax return, we can actually put that right into our Plan system, and it will give us a really in-depth tax report.
Like an analysis.
Got it. But we can use that and Retirement Analyzer hand in hand for tax planning decisions.
Because we're ultimately trying to minimize, obviously, what taxes
how to plan for RMDs, Roth conversions.
Right. Retirement Analyzer,
Plan. And then the third being Riskalyze, and that's going to be your risk report. So you can use that report, one, to determine how risky your investments are currently. It gives you a risk score, and you also can run it against certain indexes, against certain different benchmarks. It's awesome to kind of visualize where you stand, and it might be different than what you think you have.
And they provide, that software provides a number.
It does. So it gives you a number.
0 to 100. And 0 being what?
So if you think about, if you're driving a car, 0 is going to be you're not moving, you're pretty safe, hopefully.
Right. You're not making anything, but you're not losing anything.
Yeah. So it's very, very safe. We're calling that the green side. Yeah. If you get a risk score closer to 100, you're going 100 miles per hour, very fast, very
probably
risky,
speeding. Yeah.
And so that's going to be the aggressive side.
And so then new family comes in, we'll evaluate what investments they have, and then that'll determine a number.
Correct.
And then our job, I always say that's the science.
Yeah.
The art is that where you want to be, right? Or coming to that conclusion with whether it be a current client or somebody new.
Yeah.
Does that number align with what your
goals
are? What you
yeah.
want to do? And what that leads us into, gosh, when we started the firm, red money, green money is something that has been instrumental to our philosophy. It's very simple, easy for clients to understand. We've had clients that have been with us from the beginning, and the red money, green money is the first thing that they want to, or they understand. First thing they want to talk about, sticks with them. And so determining how much to have in green, how much to have in red, that's very important, and it's going to be different for
everyone.
Everybody.
Yeah, just like when you come in, you don't want to ask how much do I need to retire. We want to break it down, and breaking it down is the first step into creating these reports. So if you come in for your first meeting, or even if you're a current client, we can still work backwards. So we want to figure out, what is your current income if you're not retired?
We got to do the B word.
We got to use the B word.
What's the B word?
Budget.
I hate doing it. You hate doing it.
It's the hardest part of
and
the
we're
puzzle,
not here to tell somebody like what to spend their money on, or we don't even necessarily need to get into the details.
Right.
It can be none of our business, but we just needed a generalized budget on how much you need per month, and then we work backwards.
Exactly.
Some people have pensions. Some, most of us have Social Security, but determining the amounts, what age to take it,
right,
etc. We call those our known income sources. We know what our pension is going to be. We know what our Social Security is going to be. And then we match those known sources with our initial budget. And if some people can live on pension, Social Security,
which is awesome.
if that's you, that's great.
Yeah, that's
right?
Great news.
Federal governments around here, a lot of our families have really strong pensions. Now, there's some decisions around survivorship,
right?
And that can vary, or that can change the amount. But pretty much, what your pension is going to be. And so once we get that figure, and then what's interesting about Social Security is it used to be fairly cut and dried. There was, you got your statement, your Social Security statement that would provide the various benefits at each age.
Right.
It's become more complicated with IRMA. Why don't you talk just briefly on what IRMA and how that impacts Social Security?
So IRMA is going to affect those that are already on Social Security and over the age of 65, which would be Medicare age.
True.
A lot of people aren't aware of IRMA until it hits your mail.
Yeah.
So you get a statement usually in the end of November. That's going to be your IRMA letter. Yeah, because it's a letter, not a statement.
Yeah.
And that's going to let you know what your IRMA charge is based on your income. And the reason that most people aren't aware of it is because you've been working for a long period of time. Now you've retired. Your income has dropped. So you're not expecting to pay anything above your traditional Medicare premium. And they increase each year, of course.
Based on your income.
Based on your income. And so with IRMA, there's a 2-year look back. So they're using your income from 2 years ago.
Because that's the last tax return that they have.
That's on the system. Yeah. And so when you're retiring, it's something that you want to be aware of, because your $185 premium, and that number probably increased this year.
It could be more.
Much more, and it accumulates really quickly.
And that is taken from your Social Security. Yes. So when you look at your Social Security statement, it says you're going to get $2,000 at 65.
Yeah.
And that was a great point you made. It's Medicare age, right? So it's only going to be for people that are 65.
Right.
If you're 62, you're not on it yet. But the point is that if you're getting $2,000 at age 65, but your IRMA is $400, you're not going to get $2,000. And so my point here is to say, when we're looking at things like pension and Social Security, we need to know the net. Pensions are going to give you a gross and not always be as clear on what the cost is for health insurance or life insurance. So my point here is that we got to get the net. And you want somebody or financial professional who knows that the fact of the matter is
that IRMA applies to.
Applies, and it can be
especially if you're thinking about like taxable distributions. That all of those things in retirement are going to add to your income, which would also entail with applying to IRMA.
So once we get that data, we then can compare that to the budget. And then for most of us, there is a shortfall, meaning our budget is $10,000 a month, but our Social Security and pension only are going to give us $7,000 a month.
Yep.
Whatever.
And that's probably the most important piece, is trying to determine what your income gap is. Is there an income gap?
Yes.
What is the amount? Because once we can figure out those pieces, then we can work from there to determine how much we need to protect and how much we need to have as growth.
That might be the single most important step.
I think so.
The single most important differentiator between growth advisor, somebody who's working with younger clients, growing assets, versus somebody who's a retirement planner, understanding that difference, because retirement planning, our clients are worried about a lot of things, but at the end of the day, they're worried about running out of money. And so how do you go about addressing that? It's determining what that shortfall is.
Yeah. And then we're really trying to figure out, is there going to be a red line? So we use that terminology a lot.
Totally.
And we're really, the system that we're using when we're talking about all of these past few minutes is Retirement Analyzer.
Yeah.
The system's going to produce a red line if you're exceeding your assets for a number of years and you're spending down your funds too quickly.
It's going to show if you're going to run out of money.
Yeah.
At what age?
At what age? And then we can also determine, okay, well, we run these reports till age 100. And so what rate of return do we need to at least
to
make
overcome
it to age 100?
I got to hand it to you too, Lily. There's so much to that software. We've had a lot of colleagues try to use it.
Yeah.
A lot of them struggle with it. There's a lot of detail. You have become an expert.
Thank you.
Andrew's become an expert in our office. He does a lot of those. We kind of refer to Andrew as our paraplanner. Martin. We refer to Martin as our paraplanner.
Yeah.
And so he runs a lot of those.
He does.
Because in order to get the red line doesn't mean anything unless it's accurate.
Correct.
And so we've got to have good data going in. And somebody who's running the report, we need them to know what they're doing. And I feel confident that you and Martin do. And so once we determine that gap, then we determine how are we going to fill it.
Exactly.
Are we going to use what we call green money? Are we going to use what we call red money? Go through what those differences are.
Yeah. So once we've determined the income gap, just like Jason said, we want to figure out how we can balance the funds. Yeah. We want to make sure that there's enough protected that we would consider our green bucket in order to produce an income stream that we feel comfortable with. We did a deep dive on annuities maybe earlier in the season. And so take a look at that to get a little bit more insight on what type of annuities there are. But sometimes the green money might apply to moving a portion of those funds into an annuity to provide you with a guaranteed income stream for life.
Because the annuity is the only one that'll be guaranteed. Yeah. And so then we know between pension, Social Security, and the annuity,
we feel comfortable.
All green. It's guaranteed. Now, some people, may not want to do
100%
all green. They may want to pull from dividends. They may want to pull from, and that's fine too.
And that's perfectly fine. That's why it's important to know what the income gap is to see if we feel comfortable with having it all in one spot or having that balance. Yeah. And if we don't have annuities per se, you can still have a green portion within your brokerage account,
for sure,
your liquid account, and whether you're in dividend
CDs
funds,
bonds, there was a time when interest rates went up, we were using a lot of municipal bonds, and maybe they're paying 4%, maybe they're paying 5%.
Yeah.
You can live off of that.
Certainly.
We would consider that green money as well.
Definitely.
So then unequivocally you're getting your $10,000 a month. You're getting your $8,000 a month. And because what's important is when you're taking income out and the market goes down, your bills don't stop, right? Yeah. You still need to make payments. You still need to do this.
If anything, it's getting more expensive.
It's getting more expensive,
and we're accounting for that too in the software.
And you've got to sell, right? So if you have it in red money and your red money is determining your income, that can be problematic, but it's not the end of the world.
Right, and that's why it's just different for everyone. And it's important to have somebody look at your plan with you just to kind of get both sides of the picture so you can make sure. We see a lot of experiences in all sorts of different, client situations. So it's helpful to have kind of that mindset of what we've been through.
You had a client come in the other day that kind of surprised us both. She came in saying, hey, I think I want an annuity. Yeah. And you were like, we were both, you were with her, I was not, but you were surprised by it. And she kind of went through some of the reasons why she felt.
Yeah. And it's not that they shouldn't have had it. It's just that normally people don't know what type of annuity there is. So you're getting the opposite, right?
That's
it's like, why do I want an annuity?
Totally. So, it was fantastic because then you were able to go through the different types,
and
why
it could exactly align with she wants protection and doesn't plan to use those funds. And so it makes sense for her to have one.
Yeah. But the right one. Because there's different kinds. And so as it relates to the financial plan, we start with income.
Yes.
We would prefer to have that come from green money. Then we know it's guaranteed. Because not only is it guaranteed the amount, it's guaranteed for life.
Right.
One of the core benefits of the annuity is that it's guaranteed for life.
Yeah.
Even if the underlying bucket of money runs out, you live long enough where you have withdrawn more from the account and you're still alive.
Yeah.
The annuity continues to guarantee the payment, which is one of the reasons why the annuity has become a popular
Right. And it can be valuable in that sense too. And another piece once we have the income gap, we've helped kind of align red money versus green money, then there's a lot more to the retirement analyzer software that we can utilize.
Yeah, go through that.
Actually, you can go into each tax year and determine exactly how your taxes break down based on your taxable income. That bases on how much of your Social Security is taxable, because not all of Social Security benefit is taxed.
Right.
And so it's hard to kind of plan without having the calculation
and you want
it
it accurate.
Software. You want it to be accurate.
And then you can show all kinds of your expenses in there. You can list out, you can itemize.
You can create your budget if you don't have one, which is nice. But if you're using it in the tax planning tool, you can actually project what your estimated RMDs are going to be.
That's cool.
So that will be a little different.
Or let's say you plan on selling your house at 5 years from now, whatever.
Right.
You can be specific on, or if you have your dream is to pay for a grandkid's college. Your expenses would go up when that kid goes to school.
You can specify cash flows. It's really nice because you can show like, okay, if I need to take out $200,000 from my IRA to buy a property or to gift to someone, how's that going to affect me long term? And it's not going to happen for 5 years. You can show it real quick and easy in the software.
For sure. Or inheriting money. There's a lot of things you can do.
There's a lot you can do with it. And I think the most important thing, like we said, is determining what your income gap is. Now, let's say that your income looks great and the income gap's not a problem. You also can look at long-term care in the software to determine what your projected cost may be 10, 20 years from now.
I think you told me, too, you can assume, right? If you don't want to put in the specific, let's say we don't know what it's going to be in 20 years, it'll...
So I think
pull data from the average, project it out.
It's based on the state that you live in, and we have it on the higher end. So it's we want it to be there. Yeah. But it will say, okay, at age 85, we estimate that you'll need assisted living expenses for 4 years, because the average is about 3 to 4 years. I guess in Maryland, the stat, and so it then takes that into account for expenses, and it goes from maybe you're spending $7,000 a month and now it's $28,000 a month, and so it can be a daunting page to look at, but it really helps you plan for the future. So.
And so we start, whether we're using Retirement Analyzer or you're using a whiteboard or you're using the back of a napkin or you're using a spreadsheet. Retirement planning, first and foremost, is about determining, can I replace my salary? Can I replace my income once I retire? Now, it doesn't necessarily need to replace 100%, of your salary. Just whatever percentage is going to be specific for you. Can you replace that from these other sources? In our view, it should be guaranteed.
Right.
But you also don't want to use all of your retirement savings to produce that monthly income, right? Like you don't want to have all your assets in any one basket.
Right.
That's particularly true with things like annuities or municipal bonds. If you have $1 million and you need $45,000 a month, and that requires your entire $1 million nest egg, then we need to readjust your budget. Right. You can't afford, that kind of a number. So we got to make sure that the budget represents what your savings is.
Right.
So we can have a balance between some going in green and then some going in red. What's the purpose of red money?
So the purpose of red money, we call that sometimes the war chest side.
Yeah.
It's going to be the bucket that we're trying to keep up with inflation on. It's going to be your growth portfolio. So it's going to look different for everyone, but the goal is that if you have your green funds protected, maybe you're limited on your interest rate there. So then your red bucket is going to be what we try to keep up with inflation on. So we want to make sure that you're exposed to the market so that you can have a higher rate of return.
For sure. It'd be interesting to look up the average rate of inflation.
Yeah, I want to look that up too.
Yeah,
I think the software usually says like 3.26, but we'll
and I think most clients, even our staunch engineers, are comfortable with 3%.
And I saw too, because within Retirement Analyzer, they keep COLA adjusted
like
with
the
the
average.
platform. And
That's
I
cool.
noticed that over the past 2 weeks, it went from like 2.8 to 3.1.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So closer to inflation average too. I know.
So we build in for inflation because obviously inflation's one of the biggest killers of retirement. And so red money is then is there to provide a couple things, like you mentioned. One, combat inflation.
Yep.
But number two, provide liquidity. If you have a bucket of money that you're taking income from, whether it's the annuity or it's from a municipal bond or a treasury or even a dividend, and let's say you have $100,000, let's say that's producing 5%, so $5,000 a year.
Yep.
If you then take $10,000 out to go on a vacation or something, now you have $90,000 in there. 5% of $90,000 is different than 5% of $100,000, obviously.
Right.
And so taking withdrawals from the income side is then going to impact what your future monthly income is.
Right.
So we need a second bucket of money that is there for liquidity needs.
Exactly.
We have unexpected costs. We need to
maybe extra travel.
All those things.
The things that aren't normally in your budget.
Yes, there you go. And so we set that up. We call red money. In that bucket of money, we are comfortable with having risk. We want it to be the right risk. Clients, when they first come in with us, they'll complete an 11-question questionnaire.
Yes.
That will determine what your risk number is,
or what you think it is. I guess.
It is, and then that's the kind of the first place that we'll learn some information about you, and then we compare that to the software that produces the number
exactly,
and see if those two things align. If they do not, then we need to make adjustments.
Right.
But once we then determine kind of that risk level, then we can go out and build out our model, or at least allocate into
one of our models.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or
So
several of the models.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with it, and there's a lot of additional planning that you can use these softwares for. So you can get really into the weeds, or you can keep it very high level. I think, the most impactful part of our report is that you have a client portal. So if you're one of our engineers, or you like to do it yourself to a certain extent, you can play with your own scenarios. And it's something we didn't really log in on your own. We didn't really touch on that. If you are not retired yet, it's a planning tool for retirement, and maybe we don't know when you can retire, so this is going to help us run different scenarios to determine what age you feel comfortable.
Totally. And it also can help with the allocation.
Yes.
And so when we build out the red and we're choosing models, we have models that are more aggressive, and we have models that are more conservative, obviously. And if somebody has ample income and they're willing to take more risk, then we'll allocate more into that more risky type of portfolio.
Right.
If somebody's more conservative, then obviously we'll dial that back. So a big part of the art of our position, of our role, of our profession is determining how to allocate that red money, because red money inherently can go up and it can go down.
Yeah.
And so understanding somebody's risk tolerance is extremely important, and then aligning the allocation with that risk tolerance, and then making changes as they go through life.
I think the best part about, at least for me, for our job, is the planning aspect of the retirement day, because it can be very emotional once you get to that point, and having somebody feel comfortable with making that decision alongside our work is awesome.
Well, a client just invited us to their
ceremony.
He's been a federal worker for decades, and decided to, under our counsel, decided to retire. And this guy's both an engineer and an attorney.
Yeah.
I mean, he's like, I always joke, if you've been to our seminar, you've heard us say this before, but generally speaking, financial advisors hate working with engineers. Engineers are stereotypically, very analytical.
Yeah.
They're not just going to throw a dart at a board and say, hey, let's put the money there. They're very much involved in the background and research, etc. We love working with engineers.
Yeah, I was going to say, they provide us with the most data.
The data is great. And so, we had a previous guest on that had some health issues in his past, and we were talking about doctors and the things that they do. And I was telling him, we just don't have a ton of doctors.
We don't,
and it isn't as if doctors come in and interview us.
No, it's just,
we just don't
see the industry. Yeah,
where,
very, very
we
few.
have a handful, but by contrast, we have hundreds of engineers, hundreds. And we love working with engineers. The engineers love the
They
software.
give me the budget spreadsheet.
They gave the budget spreadsheet. They got analysis going out 20 years.
Yeah.
And all of that is good. We always say that you have to be an engineer when you're planning your own retirement.
Yeah.
Because you want to be thorough.
Right.
And the software helps you do that. And then
Exactly.
as we're going through our relationship together, as you're working with us, we both make adjustment on the plan and then on the allocation, because both are equally important. And I would say, I'm interested to see if you agree with this. Do we make more changes to the plan or to the allocation, you think?
That's actually a really good question.
Putting you on the spot.
Yeah. I feel like we probably make more changes to the plan because there's more things that change, like income-wise or expense-wise, but then that can also align with making plan changes. But I feel like typically once the plan is in place, yes, we tweak the portfolio, but those decisions are a lot easier for the plan to make changes for. So I think, but I guess I'm going into the plan to change it more.
Yeah, you are.
You know?
I think it's changing the plan too.
Yeah.
I think we have more families come in with unexpected
things, and it's like you're able to usually take those changes or, an extra expense out because your allocation's already set up for that,
Totally.
So I think it.
Well, not only that, I think that we are also at the same time encouraging spending.
Yeah.
Like you can't take the money with you.
Right.
Right. I would say most of our clients are very responsible. And I would also say most of those clients have children that don't want their money.
Right.
I always joke, they'll take it. You'll take your parents' money. I'll take my parents' money.
Right.
But I don't want them to live less of their best life.
Yeah.
So they can give the money to me.
Exactly.
And I would say that I don't need to meet our clients' kids to know that.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
So if we're encouraging spending and then somebody calls, client calls and says, hey, I want to take money. I can't blame them for,
right.
if we have to make changes to the plan, because I'm telling them you can't take the money with you, go spend it. So
exactly.
I agree. I think we do more, but we do a fair share of allocation change too.
We do. But and I think it's like we change the allocation often because it just the companies, but it's not that we're necessarily changing the client's allocation.
True. No, that's true. We're changing it. That's true.
Yeah.
So
maybe we make model changes more, but not necessarily the client.
In other words, we'll change the investment, but not the overall allocation. So no, I agree with that. And so I think that, again, what is our job? Our job at the end of the day is to create a plan.
Yeah.
Put the investments in place to implement the plan, and then walk through life together.
Yeah.
And measure when decisions come up, how are those decisions going to impact?
Because it's not like once the plan is in place, it just ends there. There's a lot that comes into play after. So even if you're already retired, the plan still makes sense to do because we want to project and maximize growth and income through your retirement. So
and part of our growth as a company is to ensure that we have the personnel, have the resources to stay on top of that plan.
Yes.
A lot of clients, when they first come on, we create the plan, we put the investments in place, and then we don't stay on top of making the adjustments on paper as much as I think that we should. And so we've added several resources in place by way of team members to be proactive. So we're updating those financial plans. I mean, how many did we do? Was that 2 years ago? Was that last year? You sat with everybody.
Yeah, we sat with a lot. So because we just renewed the system.
Is that what we did?
So we were able to kind of keep track of how many we did. And I want to say that there's at least 300 to 400 reports that we've added. Yeah,
right.
When Martin was a big help with actually creating it, but then sitting through the client meeting and updating them.
And if you're listening and you're not a client of ours and you think through, what is my financial advisor doing?
Yeah,
is he calling once a year? What's he doing? I would say that is really a separator of us, is the fact that we're proactive. And hey, let's update. Yeah, because we had the kickoff meeting where we announced, hey, we're going to have everybody come in
and do a retirement report and update your retirement report. I want to say that was last year.
2024,
I think it was actually 25.
So it was in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
And
a lot of people. I mean, it sounds like a simple meeting, but it really just it's not, there's a lot that goes into it, but the outcome of it just makes you feel so confident
that we're still
there's
on track.
A plan to get to confidence.
Totally. And to be the fact that we're proactive, I think is what separates us.
Right. You don't want to wait till something happens to make the plan.
Oh, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, I think other advisors will call clients when they want to make a change to an investment,
right?
But not necessarily to the overall plan. And I think that's what separates us. So what separated this episode from others was Lily. You did great.
Thanks you.
For coming on. And that has been another episode of Financially Speaking with LaBarge Financial.
Awesome.
Make sure to follow us. Make sure to like us. Make sure to subscribe to us if that's something that you are interested in doing. But more importantly, follow us. We got more episodes coming out, more content coming out. So thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. Thank you.
Thank you.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business LaBarge Financial, LLC. LaBarge Financial is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through AE Wealth Management, LLC, AEWM, a registered investment advisor. AEWM does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by LaBarge Financial are not subject to investment advisor requirements or broker-dealer requirements. Securities offered only by duly registered individuals through Madison Avenue Securities, LLC, MAS, member FINRA SIPC. AEWM and MAS are not affiliated companies of LaBarge Financial. Tax planning services are offered through the firm LaBarge Tax, LLC. The tax planning services offered by LaBarge Tax are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Tax planning services referenced are an outside business activity not offered through or supervised by AEWM or MAS. AEWM and MAS are not affiliated with LaBarge Tax. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. LaBarge Financial and LaBarge Tax are not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firms are not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. This information and opinions contained herein, provided by third parties, have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by LaBarge Financial or LaBarge Tax.